Hey AP Hug Team, this is Sanchez with just a brief review of supranational organizations. And we know from our key issue reading that these organizations have been around for some time now, but their nature is changing with some real implications for sovereignty of individual nation states. I wanted to go ahead and focus with a brief review of the United Nations. Now, the United Nations is an organization. In the beginning, only 49 nation states signed the original charter or the agreement to establish the United Nations in 1945. But because many of the new nations have been created since then, the membership of the UN has grown to 193 members by 2012. Again, just relatively a few short years ago. It has lasted for more than 65 years, and its membership makes it a truly global organization. Membership to the United Nations is voluntary. They have a choice, but it has some limited powers to force its members to abide or to keep by the organization's peacekeeping principles, their ideas that they set up. As a result, it plays an important role in the geopolitics and changes the dynamic of the international relationships from the previous almost exclusive forces on nation states as individual actors on the world stage. The UN changes the nature of sovereignty. I want you to remember sovereignty, one of our key terms, by applying the concept to an organization with collective membership, not just in individual nation states. An important power of the UN is that its members can vote to establish a peacekeeping force in a hotspot and request states to contribute military forces. The body responsible for making this decision is the Security Council, and any one of its 5 permanent members, again 5 permanent members, which the United States, Britain, France, China, Russia, may veto a proposed peacekeeping action. During the Cold War era, the Security Council was often a gridlock, kind of a standoff, because the US and Russia almost always disagreed. Remember, during the Cold War, there was that disagreement between political ideologies, where Russia was trying to push the idea of communism. Today, that gridlock is broken, but there's still difficult for all 5 countries to agree on a single course of action. Peacekeeping forces have been set into separate warring forces in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa. The United Nations forces are supposed to remain neutral. They're not supposed to pick a side, and they usually have restrictions on their rights to use weapons on either side of the dispute or conflict. Despite the limits, the UN forum, is where most of the states in the world meet and vote on issues without resorting to war. The UN is an umbrella organization that includes many sub-organizations, kind of things that fall under it, to promote the general welfare and the world's citizens, to monitor and aid world trade and other economic contacts. These efforts are funded by membership dues and represent an extension of international cooperation in areas other than the peacekeeping. Examples of such organizations are the World Bank, the International Court of Justice, and the UNESCO, an Economic and Social Council.